quite a bit of real estate in the area. 3 million feet in Boca Raton facility, which is the largest office building in the state of Florida, 1.7 million square feet. It's also the largest single employer in terms of in Boca Raton, but we consist of many different tenants, and we've been changing the composition of the tenants over time because our goal here at BRiC, is to recreate the innovation, the creativity, and the inventive spirit that was brought here originally by IBM 50 years ago, when they created a secretive campus for their skunk work operations to develop cool new inventions, which included the first personal computer and the first smartphone, right here where we are. So we've been spending time trying to find innovative companies in the technology and life sciences to bring them here. And so when Jessica Del Vecchio, who's in my lab, and we were said she wanted to do a presentation on the business of healthcare and sciences, we couldn't find a better person there. She's done a fantastic job, not just today, because the team came over together, but for our community. Carlos, who's worked for us, and I want to thank her as a community member and business person for all your hard work. We have an impressive panel. Everyone on here is much smarter than me. So there's not much I can probably add to it. I'm very pleased that the parent might be a school play that 2 of the people here are actually tenants at BRiC. So thank you very much, Dr. Klemes and Captain Guy and your last name, Burgstahler. Thank you so much for your time. And with that, I'm turning it over to Jessica.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess I'll introduce the other 2 panelists that are not based in the Boca presentation. Is this good? Everyone can hear me? Yeah. Okay, so to my immediate left, we have Claudio, who's the founder and CEO of Vitacost. And then we have John Fieldly, who's CEO of Celsius, and I guess everyone should have their ice cold Celsius drink that was provided this morning. And Dr. Klemes, she is the CMO at MDViP, and has been involved in this great company here in Boca. And Guy Burgstahler, the VP for marketing at Vitacost. So I'd like to just go down the panel. We're going to keep it super casual, kind of like everything we do here, like you guys all do. If you could, we'll start with Claudio, we'll go down the line and about your background, how you got started, and just about your company in general, so you get an idea.
Hi everyone. As she said, I'm Claudio Sorrentino, CEO of Body Details. We are now Southeast Florida's largest provider of cosmetic laser services. So we do laser hair removal, laser texture removal, laser skin rejuvenation, and some services that are now in the pipeline. I got into this business. I had a business in college right here at FAU. I went to the Honors College of FAU not that long ago, I guess. I graduated in 2004 and fell in love with Palm Beach County and Boca Raton. I had a business in college doing special events and club promotions. It was a great business, but got tiresome quickly as we graduated. And I am unfortunately Brazilian and Italian, not unfortunate for the culture, but unfortunate for the body hair. And so I needed hair removal. I thought it would be nice to not have to worry about shaving. And so I decided I should get some laser hair removal. So as a college kid who was self-funding my education and about to start a master's program, I figured, how do I get this for free? So I decided to work at a laser hair removal company, figuring that would be one of the benefits. Sure enough, it was. And in that process, I realized that this was a great business to be in. The space I was working at wasn't offering texture removal, and we got requests for that all the time. So I contacted my previous business partner that I had from FAU and said, hey, we should start another company. Let's get into the laser hair removal space. And he loved the idea. We wrote a business plan, and we're fortunate enough to successfully achieve funding 5 months later and open our first store all the way down in Coral Gables. And then that was in 2006. And we grew rapidly. We were doubling in size every year, and the recession came, slowed everything down, unfortunately. I'm sure all of us experienced some of that. And then we raised friends and family capital in 2014, put us back on a growth track. And fortunately, just yesterday, we closed our first round of investment with a private equity group out of New York. Thank you very much. And so now we have sort of the growth capital and the partnership to run and grow our business throughout the country. And so we're very excited to be based out of Boca Raton. Corporate HQ is in Myston Park. We love this town. We're not going anywhere. And I'm very excited to be able to employ more people and grow it right here in our backyard. So it's exciting.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Fieldly. I'm the CEO of Celsius. We've been in Boca Raton now for over 10 years as an organization, as a company. We're capitalizing on today's health and wellness trends. We're a vitamin-infused energy drink, which is better for you. We do have a variety of vitamins in, including biotin for your hair and nails. So that is also for 30 calories of value fat. And really started off at vitamin shop in GNC, gyms and health clubs around the country. And today we're making really the gigantic leaps and bounds into mainstream retail. So now available at Target, Vitamin Shop, CVS, Rite Aid, many other retailers, Publix, and Vitacost has been a long-term part of the business as well. They do an amazing business online as an online partner as well. So main brick and mortar and online is a key component. We'll talk a little bit more about that and how we integrate online digital media and platforms. But glad to be in Boca Raton. It's the amount of entrepreneurs here that you see as an organization and a company. You couldn't be in a better spot. We're not going anywhere either. So glad to be here.
You should probably switch out since there's a or something. And in a company that's a little different from all the rest, I'm Andrea Klemes. I'm the Chief Medical Officer at MDViP, as stated before. My background, I'm an endocrinologist actually by training. Had a varied path in medicine because I was in private practice up in Tallahassee, Florida, so not Boca, still Florida. And then while I was working there, if any of you remember, not everybody could, but back in the late 90s, Florida had the highest penetration of managed care throughout the state, throughout the country. And so everybody was looking for something else to do to keep their doors open. I ended up working in pharmaceuticals, women's health and osteoporosis was my passion. Went to work for P&G Pharmaceuticals, worked there for about 10 years, ended up moving up to Cincinnati, some mothership. And when P&G bought MDViP, they sent me down. When P&G sold MDViP, they sold me too. So I've been here about 9 years. If you're saying, what is MDViP? We are a national network of primary care physicians across the country. Started right here in Boca Raton with a physician and a patient who knew there had to be a better way. And 19 years later, we have over 1,000 physicians across the country in 43 states and DC. And over 325,000 patients that I get to help keep healthy. The premise really of MDViP is proactive preventive care. The cornerstone is a doctor-patient relationship. You get hours with your doctor once a year, half an hour follow-ups, an executive style physical. You have to pay. But the average fee across the country is $1,800 a year. And for that, you get that executive physical and then all the time with the physician. So we can really prevent disease, not worry about treating complications and sick care. I know I have more questions to answer later, so I'll hold the rest of it. Thank you.
My name is Burgstahler. I don't understand this whole hair removal process. More than an additive stage. I do know that it's a viable business. So anyway, we just moved into this facility. I work for Vitacost.com, which is a subsidiary of Kroger Companies. Kroger acquired Vitacost.com about 5 years ago with the intent to utilize the technology resources that we had to launch their own e-commerce programs. But Vitacost.com has played in the health and wellness space, again, as a pure e-commerce play for about 25 years. Our main category of business is vitamins, minerals, herbs, and supplements. We heavily focus on natural and organic, but we sell foods and baby products and health and household products and sport products. and pet products as well. It's about a $500 million business, and it's been very, very interesting for me to watch the transition or transformation, especially domestically, of how we're now migrating back to this kind of organic state. And when you look around the world, we're really the only country that has a real issue with that, right? Most of the population internationally doesn't even understand what the need is for organic and natural. It's just like an everyday way of life. But here we've kind of tainted our food system, as you all know. So this move that's happening more towards Native American organic medicines is very fascinating, and it's really, really interesting to be a part of. But I think the thing that's most exciting now is Vitacost.com ran kind of like a speedboat, right? Very entrepreneurial organization. It grew very quickly and appealed to a very niche audience. But now that we're part of Kroger companies, we literally have the chance to change the nutritional system and the agricultural system. Kroger companies is a Fortune 17 company. It's about 130 billion with influence across the verticals, across the spectrum of nutrition. So the combined effort that we're building towards now is super exciting to be a part of. And like everyone else on the panel here, thank you very much for leading.
So when the acquisition with Kroger and Vitacost, obviously now you're in here for about 23,000 square feet space, which is big for Boca, big space for us. Did you see any changes in your, if you have the biggest retailer, obviously the supermarket, did your products go, I don't know, double in sales? How did that affect your business at that time when the buyout actually happened, the acquisition happened? I think it was
I
about
actually don't need a
$280 million.
microphone. I'm very comfortable yelling. Interestingly enough, when a company decides that Kroger goes through an acquisition, it's not as well planned out as one might think, right? So they acquired us and then looked up and said, okay, now what do we do with this company? So for about 4 years, 4.5 years, we ran autonomously and really just focused on driving the Vitacost business. And it's just now, since their e-commerce platforms have launched with the help and support of our technology team here in Boca, that we're starting to integrate those businesses. I was talking to someone out in the lobby earlier. It's a very strong and very powerful transition. And we don't want to compete with each other, and essentially that's what we'll be doing in the e-commerce space if we don't integrate more closely. So that's what's really happening now. We never saw the uptick in sales from the acquisition point of view. We saw it really from the movement that is heading towards a more natural way of eating, a more natural way of wellness, and that's what we drove on.
Interesting. So I know Kroger owns a lot of kind of on me for some reason right now, which is so interesting. So Kroger owns a lot of business, a lot of companies. Obviously, you scale the sub brands. Do you now get access when you integrate to all those brands?
Absolutely. So for any of you who have been through an acquisition like this, again, speedboat battleship, right? It's like this entrepreneurial speedboat mentality. Get to market fast, iterate fast, be very agile and dynamic. And now we're up against it. Literally takes 6 months, to find your office, change your clothes, whatever the case may be. So that's been a change for the business here and for the people that I manage here in Boca. It's been very much a change. But once you acclimate to that and you realize the power of the resources that you have at your disposal, it becomes very empowering. And that's the stage that we're in right now.
Amazing. Speaking of acquisitions, John Fieldly announced last week, I believe it was, the acquisition of the through Vatican for $25 million. Can you tell us how that got on your radar and kind of the behind the scenes, as I described, you're actually obviously at the table. Tell us a little bit about how that.
No, absolutely. Last week we completed a $25 million capital raise. We're a publicly traded company, CELH on NASDAQ, and as health and wellness trends continue, this entity is in Sweden. That's where a lot of health and wellness trends really originate, and there's so much innovation on innovative foods, healthy, better for you in Europe and in the Nordics, where this entity is located. We thought this was a good fit. They actually are already selling our products independently. One of the top selling energy drinks in the region. We're going to use that as a platform to expand throughout Europe. They also have an innovative portfolio of protein products. Protein snacks, RTDs, and better for you products. So we're looking to integrate that and actually bring some of those products over into the U.S. In 2020, and we really leverage the synergistic benefits. There's online and social media integration. We're able to really leverage efficiencies not only in North America but around the world. So we're really excited about this opportunity.
Let's jump into the online and social media and the marketing aspect of how the business world has changed. And Dr. Klemes, we'll start with you with MDViP. Do you market for physicians to join your group or end users like myself to become a patient of your physicians? Both? How does that look?
Yes. We market for both. So the traditional way patients come into our network is we partner with a physician who will transition their practice to MDViP. It's a 4-month transition process. We actually put somebody, an MDViP employee, in their office to explain to all the patients. If anybody was living here in Boca when Rob Colton, Bernie Kamenetsky, doctors wanted to transition, Bill Nelson was a junior senator. There were things in the newspaper. My doctor was getting rid of me. That is not the case. We will not transition a physician unless there are multiple primary care physicians. No offense to anybody, but no PAs or nurse practitioners. Has to be a physician who will agree to take on those patients. And so when we bring a physician in, they will transition with usually 400 by 600 of their patients. But on top of that, we're always looking to bring in new patients to any of the physicians that we have across the country. Our retention rates are amazing. They're 93-4%. So with a retention rate like that, you say, well, do you worry? Well, over 5 years, you are losing 20-30% of those patients. So you need to keep bringing new ones in. So we do a lot with, especially as younger people are coming and looking for healthcare choices. We do social media, digital marketing, and all. Probably our best referral source are happy patients and happy physicians. Our physicians do community events. They'll do walk with doc. They'll take their patients for a walk. They'll take them to the grocery store and teach them how to buy the good things and not buy the bad things. When they do that, they invite the patients and guests. So those are good ways for other people to see, wow, this is what this physician does. I want that too. Because usually when somebody's looking for a new physician, there is a healthcare crisis or you've moved. But what we want is people to realize this is a much better way of healthcare. I've published many studies showing we have better outcomes, more preventive services, we save the healthcare system tons of money, so that it's a better way to practice medicine. So more people can see that.
Yeah, you mentioned that we're all kind of getting back to basics with food, I think, and wellness. We all want to be able to spend time with our physicians on whatever it is, that you don't want to wait 3 weeks to get in. By the time you get in, you're like, oh, okay, I feel better now, thanks. Speaking of, yes, it is for the physician.
A much better model for the physician. Actually, our tagline is kind of, we make healthier lives happen. And it's not just patient lives, it's physician lives. We have many physicians who are practicing who are going to leave medicine. So those patients, we're going to have nobody anymore. And now they're practicing, many years after they're retired. The other big issue is physician suicide. And we lose the equivalent of a medical school class a year to physician suicide. 1 million patients a year lose their physicians. It's one of the highest professions of suicide rate like that. And so if you make them happy and gratified and why they're using medical school in the first place, they take much better care of all of you, and then all of you can be healthy.
Claudio, getting back to the marketing aspect of how you find your clients, and I can't get in my car and go to City Hall without hearing your commercial on the radio. So tell us a little bit about what you do on a local and international, and how you do that.
So I guess in our space, it's somewhat challenging because we constantly have to drive new business through the door. Only recently do we have recurring revenue from one of our services. Historically, for up until really last year, I had to bring in new patients every single month, no matter what, because once I treat all your body hair and you have no hair growing anymore, or I've eliminated the tattoos you have, I can't put any new ones on to take them off. So I have to consistently drive new clients. So our business is really a marketing and then healthcare model. So one of the things we do extraordinarily well, in our opinion, is create a brand that our customers identify with, and then drive that home through every media channel possible. The shift in marketing has been pretty dramatic, even in just the 13 years we've been in business, and I'm sure you can attest this as well. But, we used to run a radio ad, and I'd have 15 people in a call center, and they would all be listening to the radio, and when the ad would run, they'd scream running, and then everybody would run to the phones and wait, because they would all just type immediately, and you have 30, 40 callers. I could run 15 radio ads today, and you don't get a single call. not because people don't hear the ad and it's not working, it's just because people shop so differently. You know, now your website is your digital storefront, and people hear an ad and then they go, okay, let me Google it, and let me check it out on the website. And it's been beneficial to us as a business because it's reduced some labor costs, which is nice, but we've shifted everything to sort of these digital form fills and social media marketing. But I feel that the horizon of marketing is so beneficial as a business owner because now you can customize and personalize everything you do. I can run an ad that's specifically talking to a consumer who's 18 to 35, female who has dark hair who wants it removed. And I can run a specific ad to people who have tattoos who are in this age demographic and make sure I'm exclusively hitting them and target that audience specifically. Whereas in the radio, I don't know who's listening. I don't know if you ever heard the commercial or not. I know people hear it because people talk about hearing it. And when I do talks, a lot of people sing our jingle, which is great. So I know it's working. But you know, social media and digital marketing is truly the play. The ROI there is massive. And so just the consistent investment, as you said, there's always attrition in any aspect. And for us, you know, the constant need to drive new customers is significant. So we are always producing new content. We're driving as much content as possible out the door to make sure that the people who identify with our brand are coming in. And we do have a national and international presence now. We had a girl who came in recently from Iceland. She said, I saw you on social media. I was in town for 2 weeks and I wanted to get a treatment with you because there's nobody of quality out there. So it just goes to show how well spread your marketing message can be across social media channels. People tend to underestimate that and don't have a cohesive brand strategy there. But just making sure that at every touch point with your customer, your brand comes through and the quality of the video production that we do is so high. That's why we have a videographer at every event. I have a videographer here filming this. We produce content in every aspect of the funnel, from both managing the company as a CEO to, you know, end level to the consumer and their experience.
Awesome. I thought I should be taking notes. Can we get a copy of your video?
Yes.
Okay. Write that down. Okay. So you talked about marketing to certain age groups and demographics. It's very important to know your market and then go after it in any, I mean, even in economic development. Not as exciting for much, but it's important. But that said, how on the flip side, as far as demographics with the workforce, you know, we can maybe just go down the line this way. A lot of millennials in the workforce, sometimes they get a bad rap, and they're not going to deserve it. You don't have to get into that. But have you seen shifts in that demographic? I'm asking because of the universities we have here. We have FAU with 25,000 students, the university has about 5,000, and of course, Columbia State College. So we have a kind of built-in workforce, and it kind of helps us when people, when we're recruiting companies out of the area, you know, how's your workforce? So how do you guys find it? You're doing it.
Yeah, so we employ a lot of millennials. We're a very young, female-driven company. I think there are 3 men in my business, myself included. And so, you know, for us, we live in the now economy. You know, everybody, I mean, they did a study recently. I think if you see a video online and the video says it's a minute long, the average person watches 15 seconds. Like, we don't have a minute of our time to give because we're so constantly, you know, just inundated with information and news and everything else. And you can see it now, even as the, you know, news channels have changed, where you see the news and then there's a ticker of some other news, and then underneath that there's the news, so you can't have just one thing that you have to focus on at any given point in time. But we've seen that shift with millennials, particularly from the at the workforce. You have to have an expectation now that people are going to stay on average for a job 2 years or less. The change that people are shifting out of the marketplace is so much more culture driven than it is pay driven, than it is benefits driven as it used to be. So one of the things that we've done in the business marketing to millennials is just making sure we have a culture that people enjoy their work and that they come to the office and have fun there. And it's a key element of our model to keep a millennial group happy, that they can have fun, that if they're on their phone checking the social media, you know, we don't yell at them because it's going to happen all day long. You know, I'll walk by all my people working and, you know, there's a Facebook notification and they're chatting with their friends. And I'm like, look, as long as you're liking our Facebook posts and our Instagram posts, like, I don't care if you're on social media all day, just get the job done. So I think as a business owner, you sort of have to shift your mentality from sort of the old world, you're going to be in this cubicle, you're going to do this job, you're going to ignore everything else. You know, we celebrate every activity. We have Champagne Tuesdays at my business. So, you know, if there's, yes, it's, you know, and so, and just any excuse to celebrate. Someone's like, I got a new dog, Champagne Tuesday. You know, it's just, it gives you an excuse. It costs us $15 to buy a bottle of champagne, you know, $30. And so for what we spend a year, for everybody to have that shared on social media, it makes people excited about working here. I recruited my HR director on the premise that we have Champagne Tuesdays, because she came from an environment, the medical space, that was a medical recruiting space, 150 employees, where the CEO said, you know, that girl's had her birthday balloons up for a long enough time, never take them down, you know, and it was just like, what, why? Well, for what? I had a girl in my office, her balloons are on the floor, like they're just deflated, still on the floor. And I'm like, listen, at some point you gotta get those things out of here, but not because I care that, you know, celebrate your birthday for a month, I don't care. So I think it's just shifting that mentality and just acknowledging the fact that, you know, people are going to change jobs often. A lot of studies have proven that that benefits them in the long run anyway. So we are happy to be a jump off point. We try to give people as many opportunities for growth as possible, particularly with millennials. But it's just really making sure that the environment is fun, because that's what they value the most. And if you can make it fun and people like where they are, they tend to stay.
And in full disclosure, your corporate is in Rosen Park, and we're sitting in your office looking out onto the street, and there's food trucks out there, there's restaurants, I mean, it's buzzing, so that's awesome, great.
No, I agree. I think creating a culture and work environment for everyone is, that's key, right? And also passion, I think, is very key. Everyone wants a purpose of being, so, although, you know, celebrating is key, but we want everyone working hard, want everyone does a job to get done, very important. But making sure everyone's connected to the company on the purpose of the company is key. And they need a reason to believe and a reason, you know, that passion to be there each and every day and get the most out of it. We've had several millennials leave at that 2-year mark. And then they're buying pizzas for us to come back and they walk back in the door. It's, you know, grass is not always greener on the other side, as we always know. And we've had some of our best employees actually have left at that 2-year mark and come back. They want to be part of you know, a bigger movement. And as a CEO and a leader, it's very important to motivate everyone to get the most out of each and every day. So that's critical. Very positive atmosphere is very key, but then discipline as well. I mean, everyone has to know what the job requirement is, and I still think structure is very key as well.
The culture piece is very important. Also, we actually recently, for the 2nd year in a row, got a great place to work. It really is easy to come to work when you know you're helping people stay healthier and keep letting them live longer. It really bonds everybody in our company. I think also from millennials coming to work for us, it's more on that convenience and content piece. So we do have portals. We finally developed an app, more educational content that we can put out. But then it's also marketing to them to bring them in, because my doctors will tell you all the time, if I can get that age group in, I can really pretty much cure heart disease, dementia, cancer. I hope nobody's from legal is listening. My general counsel will tell me to take everything. But it's true, if you can get it, you know, if you can get people in early, because, you know, 80% of cardiovascular deaths are preventable. I mean, that's over 600,000 people a year die of cardiovascular death. But if you get them at 55 or 60, when most people think that they're going to find that internist to prevent disease, it's too late. So you need to get to those millennials. So a lot more digital online marketing, you know, just like whenever you go on Amazon, and, you know, my husband has an Amazon account. Little problem is if he's looking for anything for me or I'm looking for anything for him, you know, it shows up on Facebook the next day right in the corner there, and you're like, ooh, he's looking for that. So, but trying to get social media, trying to get some people to bring in younger patients so we can work more for them.
Interesting, I think the biggest transformation in our space, because we employ a lot of millennials as well, is your Vitacost, has been with myself. You know, I grew up old school, right? You work 14, 15 hours a day, and that's what your dad did, and that's what you were taught to do, and I loved it, and, you know, it was never any problem. The biggest thing I see today, and we interview often, the first question most of the millennials have is how much paid vacation time do we have? And it's been interesting because at first, you know, I'm shocked on that. I was like, how dare you ask that? First question, you know, I was like, what the heck? But then I started to realize, I was like, maybe I grew up in the wrong era. But I have to give some props to BRiC because we came from a space across the street that to say it was dilapidated is a bit of an understatement. We were in a very dank, a very sobering environment, and for a while we knew we needed to get out of there, but due to the acquisitions and other things, it was just delayed. When we moved in here, the energy level of the millennial part of our team raised exponentially. It was really, really exciting to see that. But I don't know how many of you out here employ millennials, but what we have found and what I have found and what I've read and studied, and I have millennials as children, there's kind of this two-way path. There's the millennial that is very aloof, and it seems like you owe them the world, right? And they don't really have to care or try, but you just owe it to them. And there's the millennial that's the absolute overachiever, right? That is really out there to change the world. And there's not a lot in between. So all I do is try to find the ones on the other side and let them run, right? Let them run. Give them autonomy to think, give them autonomy to create, to innovate, and let them do their thing, because that's really what inspires them the most, and that's what the business benefits from.
Really great perspective. I love that you're encouraging them to give them room to breathe and run. I think all of us could have benefited us that are not millennials. I think they're on to something with the work-life balance for sure. They ask the questions that maybe I was too afraid to ask. I want to ask. I want to interview and didn't ask how much I was going to make. I don't know how to pay me. I need to sit down with your millennial team. Okay, we talked about marketing and things of that nature, but do any of you use something out of the ordinary, different than social media? Maybe celebrity endorsements or product placements, anything like that?
Well, at Celsius, we just kicked off a national Live Fit tour, and we go to 26 cities. It's really all about experience. So not only is really growing it, sampling to the next level, it's really engaging. So it's digital, social media, we're leveraging all platforms. So influencers, social media, experiential kind of constellations that are set up to bring trainers out. We do outside activities, all about encouraging movement. So it's a tour about movement going to 26 cities. It is going to come to Boca later on this year. And so that allows us kind of a 360 approach, touching all platforms and really integrating everything in. So that's working really well for us. So it's a product you can touch, makes you feel better, and then just leveraging everything we have. As you mentioned as well, today, you can be so laser focused in your marketing, especially on the digital platforms. Fencing, segmenting, so it's a marketer's platform. There's so many more people build.
And with influencers, you get access to their followers and their platforms, which is pretty, it's on its own,
Absolutely.
And when you do your event, don't let us all know.
Absolutely.
Show our support. I need it. We do.
Yeah, so we do a ton with social media influencers. We are fortunate enough to be in a space where everybody wants our service. So we can do a lot of things with, generally, everybody. Even if you want hair here, most people have somewhere from here down that they want to remove hair. So we rarely meet people who don't have anything that they want either removed or with skin rejuvenation, made to look younger. So, we get constant, social media influencers messaging us saying, how do I work with body details? I'm a blogger, I'm a fashion blogger, I'm a model, we did something with Victoria's Secret model, we did something with the host of Deco Drive in Miami, and they all found us. So if your marketing is strong, and your business is strong, you tend to find the people who align with your brand. Today, they find you, and so we look at that, and someone will come in. And one of the things we do uniquely is every time we have someone come in for a consultation, we look them up. And I go to your social media page, I search your name in Instagram, or my team members do, and if you have a significant following, we have a conversation with you. Oh, I noticed that you have 3 million followers. I noticed you have 1 million followers. What do you do? And they're like, oh, I'm a model, or I'm a video, personality, or I'm this or I'm that. And then we talk to them about their interest in services. They go through the normal consultative process, but then if they're like, hey, I wanted $10,000 worth of services and I can afford 5, then we may have a discussion about working with us on trade. And then we have a really high-quality video team who comes in and videotapes their whole experience, and they talk about their whole experience. But what that does now, again, it's more personalized marketing, because now not only are we targeting the people who identify with our brand, but we're targeting the people who identify with that specific influencer and value what she says. So it's sort of the old radio personality model to the nth degree, where radio personalities are bought and sold and will market anything. Influencers typically are very specific to what they're willing to push, and they truly have to believe in that brand and their audience. They care about their audience, and so we target those individuals as they target us and say, okay, if this person align with us, we can go through their pages. And on the millennial side, both from marketing and from this, it's unique now because everybody has to be conscious of what you do on social media. I mean, you have to be. The first thing my HR director does is check your social media pages. Period. Anytime we hire anyone. And so we know immediately, what you're doing. We fired enough, I can't even count how many people we fired for posting stuff that I was sick, and then they're like getting drunk, on their social media pages. I'm like, we follow you. Like, save it for Tuesday when you're going to be in the office. But, so it's a changing market, and, even from marketing to the customer on that side, there was a study done recently that said for a non-necessary service, a millennial is willing to drive 13 minutes. 13 total drive time, which means if you're, 8 minutes away in traffic, you better be 5 minutes of actual drive time away. So it's really changing and shifting the market, this now economy. But, on the marketing side, I think that the social play is only going to get more and more involved, and people are turning more and more to that. Review marketing is also just a crazy headache. I still believe Yelp is an extortionist agency in terms of how they manage reviews, and you could write 100 good reviews and the one negative review is the only one that shows up, and that they recommend to the audience. So, I think just being aware of those elements in the shift in marketing is so significant, and just making sure, driving home the happy customer, driving home the culture, making sure people love what they experience enough that they want to talk about it, and then spoon feeding them how to talk about it. I think it's one of the things that we do that's a little unique. So if you come in and you have a great experience and you're like, I love you guys, we're like, great, here's our Yelp address, here's a business card, take it home, it's a QR code, you can scan it on your phone and it'll take you right to the review page. Give us a good review if you don't mind. But to make it as easy as possible for your audience to share why you're a great company and why they love you is a big difference in trying to pay people to do this. Because you can't pay people for reviews, it's outside of you're not allowed to do that. But just making it as easy as possible. That's another thing with the millennial market, I'm sure you know. Making it as easy as possible to do everything that they need to do makes your business exponentially more successful. So just focusing on that.
I just wanted to add, I chose marketing way back when. It's been my entire career, and I've watched these transitions from traditional to digital initiatives and experiences. And the one constant that has rode through all of that sea of change is the ability to tell the story. And if you have a solid story, and if you project it in a very compelling way, the medium is actually the least important, of all the aspects of marketing. You've got to get that story right. And I did want to challenge, one thing. It's not so much a challenge, but in this world of personalization, it's awesome to have such a diversity of businesses up here, because as a Kroger company, we see 60 million people a day. So just think about, as a marketer, trying to personalize to 60 million people per day. It's impossible, right? And no technology can help you do that. So the human touch is still a very, very big aspect of marketing. And we're fortunate, with our brick and mortar spaces, to see 60 million people a day. So a lot of emphasis is put on that human experience still today, despite all of the wonderful technologies and social platforms out there.
Wonderful, thank you guys, really appreciate it. We have only a few minutes left, so I'm sorry, we're going to have to just cut it short. Yes, we will open it for a couple questions for the panelists. Michael?
So, guys, so how do you, if somebody walks into Boca in, say, in Cincinnati, how do you get them, the lady at the cashier, get them to load your app onto their phone? How do they find out that you also have a company called Vitacost and vice versa?
That's a great question. Again, the last 4 years they didn't, and there was very little integration. But now, again, because our space, our niche space, has become more mainstream. I remember when I started in natural and organic, we were doing our best to try to educate people what certified USDA organic meant. And today it's more mainstream than finding it in FDM, like a Kroger. So it's not our customer service agents or our cashiers' job to say download the app or anything. That's what marketing outside of that spectrum is for. But recently, we've integrated a lot of our advertising and marketing. So if you go to Kroger.com today, you'll see an e-spot, a link to Vitacost. If you get a Kroger circular in the mail, which they still do those, whole other story. You'll see some exposure to Vitacost, and not as much vice versa because they're such a bigger and more powerful entity. But just now, as of this year, they've started to open their media channels to help promote the Vitacost.com business.
Anyone else have a question? Yeah, it's a good question. Anyone else? Martha?
Now that Vitacost has a presence, for a while in Boca, any plans to open a Kroger down here?
So the answer is yes, but it's a very interesting model, right? So for those of you that follow, we were putting in Orlando, Florida, we're putting an Ocado facility. So Ocado is a British company, a very technical company, who creates micro-fulfillment centers that pick and pack everything through robotics. And if you've ever gone online and watched an Ocado video, it's absolutely fascinating what you can do in a very, very small micro-fulfillment center. So it will be a shop online and pick up at the facility, or a shop online and have it delivered to your door business model. It's a completely refrigerated, completely safe environment. And it's really moving towards that ability to do business at a much smaller square footprint, a much smaller footprint. It's very expensive to build stores, but these micro-fulfillment centers you'll see popping up around the country, and the first one is actually going to happen in Orlando, Florida. So not necessarily down here in South Florida, but soon to come.
Great question. Anyone else before we do our raffle? One more? Yes.
Okay, just curious if you have work-at-home workers and how you handle that HR wise.
Okay. We do. And MDViP, if you've been there, I think it's a year, you're allowed to apply to work from home 1 day a week. We also have a whole field force of our 500 employees, about 100 or a little more, 150 around the field. But from those who work from home here, they just take that day to do those quiet kind of things that they can't do in the office space. And we have, communicators so that they can IM and they can home for meetings and all. I think that it's one of the things my CEO and the executive team feels is a good work to keep good talent, because many companies are doing these sorts of things. And I think that we find that most people actually work at their work from home. Because that's, of course, the biggest worry.
Okay, one more. Someone? Yes.
I was just going to ask all of you what you think about artificial intelligence, and do you put in practice such as face recognition and such for training about buyers?
So on our side, we have a custom software that's in development right now. The software does a lot on the machine learning side, in terms of looking at treatments over time to determine what the best treatment protocols are to ensure the fastest rate of results. So, there's no data effectively in our space, particularly in laser hair removal and tattoo removal. There's been advances in technology, but in terms of tracking actual treatment protocols along with treatment intervals to determine, okay, if I had 8 customers who came in, who all came in at 8 weeks and 6 weeks and 8 weeks and 10 weeks, those customers were completed clients in 5 treatments, as opposed to the customer who came in at 8, 10, 10, 10, 10, and they took 10 treatments. Well, maybe there's something to that interval that's going to actually allow us to complete clients faster. So the machine learning and AI piece is going to be extremely beneficial there in terms of improving efficacy of results of all of the things we do by being able to data mine. We use a lot of this currently on the marketing side to track trends, because as you know from as a marketing person for so long, attribution is really hard, and it's gotten a lot easier in the digital space. But I may, say, hey, let me run this radio ad, and you say you heard me on Google, or you found me on Google, but that's just because you heard the radio ad and went to Google. So if I can track accurately lift of demand and leads from my marketing outside of the actual direct attribution of what you're saying, like we had a lead from Tom Cruise the other day. So that's what someone put in our thing, like Tom Cruise referred to by things. So, you just never know. The customer is not always correct in what they tell you why they heard about you. So tracking the actual lift and stuff with machine learning and software is changing the game in terms of how we market and how we do that effectively.
want to go, John,
Yeah,
and we'll wrap up?
I just think AI is going to really change the way we interact, the way in retail. It's going, when you walk into a store, you're going to be presented with products that are aligned, that you like, that you want, that you're purchasing. You're already starting to see that now on your cell phone. You're getting targeted ads for it. I think Kohl's does a really good job as well. When you buy Kohl's, you get particular targeted, discounts, promotions. We're just going to see more and more of that, and like out of locations like Kroger, with all the products they sell within the stores, customizing that experience for the consumers.
Okay, so now we're just gonna give away 2 of our gift bags and then everyone can go. Please grab your selfies on the way out. It really is amazing. Dr. Clemens, give me a number, please, between 1 and 57.
38.
38. Alex Ortiz. We got a bag in the back for you. And then John, did we say please not 38?
39.
Elliot Puffer. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yes.